there's a lot of trucks doing a lot of work in the heavy end as well. And there's a lot of technology that is still being developed in that space. C Electric may or may not be also playing in that space.
Do we get that? May or may not be. Hi, I'm Harrison Hunkin for another truck chat, and today we've replaced diesel power for battery power. So let me introduce to you C Electric Vice President Glenn Walker. Glenn, thanks for chatting trucks, which Glenn just wanted to make a point just before that maybe I've got the wrong name for this segment. He said maybe it should be, between two trucks. So Glenn, this is our first truck chat about electric trucks. It's big on the horizon.
Yep.
C Electric's the new kid on the block. Unfortunately, you are not. You've been around the industry for a while. I thought they couldn't teach old dogs new tricks. Come on, Glenn, tell me what's going on here at SEA.
Well, it turns out they can. Now, I've lived a life in the Australian transport industry since the mid to late 80s. And look, as you said, it's electric trucks. How hard could it be? Here we are.
You stole my next question. Your previous life was at PACCAR and then you did a stint at Maxi Trans.
I did.
Aren't you sick of trucks?
Look, no, I'm not actually. They are things of beauty at the end of the day. You take raw materials, add human capital, and you can produce something like this. And it's even to this day, I'll see one of the trucks or one of the trailers that I was associated with all those years ago, and I just have this personal connection with these things.
Now, let's touch on Kenworth a little bit. I know you're not working there anymore, but they are the pinnacle of Aussie trucking. You can't doubt their credentials. Now, you've shifted from the totally different end of the scale. You've gone from the top to a relatively new starter. What's the difference been?
I guess the difference has been we started from very little. We had a technology that was proving itself, and we're at the point where we needed to develop the technology and ultimately start to scale it. And that's been the journey over the last 3 to 4 years. We've created the systems that we need. We've developed the products that we need. It's kind of cool.
Well, we're actually seated in front of two 300s.
Indeed.
I drove a 300 maybe 18 months ago when I was last here. Tell me about the 300. It's sort of your flagship, isn't it?
It is. It's in the 8 to 8.5 ton GVM range, 2 battery configurations, 100 kilowatt hours and about 140 kilowatt hours. 2 motor configurations, 1,000 Newton meters and 1,500 Newton meters, 2 wheelbases. So there's a few permutations and combinations of them in there. But it's a safe and comfortable 230, 250 kilometres of range, fully loaded.
You've had a pretty steady start here in Australia, but you've also copped a little bit of flack from your competitors. You're the first EV manufacturer here in Australia.
Yep.
Why is that? Are you the Tesla of the trucking world? Are you disruptors?
Oh, look, we're definitely disruptors.
Yeah.
Tesla of the trucking world, it'd be nice if that's what we become, but, there's a ways to go there yet. But look, I take a fairly balanced view on these things. If we're copping a bit of criticism from the competition, then there can be no greater compliment. That usually comes from fear with either what we've got now or what we might have in the future.
Now, you dragged me out to Dandenong. I don't confess to love this part of the world. Tell me a little bit about this HQ. What goes on here?
Well, it's an amazing place. It really is. The technology that we develop, the products that we produce, the people that we have, wickedly smart folks, to be honest.
I want a bit of your perspective on the actual Aussie trucking industry. What's your view on it?
Australia is the hardest application on Earth for a truck to survive in. If a truck lives down here, it'll live anywhere else on Earth.
Now, you mentioned sales before. Put on your sales hat. Sell me a C Electric 300 right now, on the spot. Give me your best sales pitch.
Well, the first thing I can sell you a C Electric truck. They're here. 4.5 ton through to 22.5 ton. And they are designed to be a truck.
Yep.
Perform like a truck, steer like a truck, stop like a truck. They're a truck.
That noise you're hearing is the very fandangle solar panels. They make some noise when the sun comes out. That's all right. We know they're working, hey?
And just on that solar, We have not purchased any electricity for over 12 months
Because of these noisy solar panels.
because of those noisy solar panels.
Now, your fearless leader, Tony Fairweather, he's a bit of a go-getter, I find. He is. I know he's jet-setting around the US at the moment, and your US base over there is doing tremendously well.
Yeah.
What's his master plan for Australia?
Well, absolutely, Tony is a go-getter, and there is a rumour around our organisation that he doesn't sleep because we do get email responses, text message responses, literally 24/7.
Now, when you talk electric trucks, they've always been on the horizon, 30 years. And it seems that 30 years is now 20 years, and 20 years is getting closer to 10. And now as we speak, it's probably closer to now, if not in the very, very foreseeable future. We're talking tens of months now.
Yep.
How are you going about shifting perceptions?
Yeah, it's two markets, I guess. The general public, I think they're on board. There's nothing much from their perspective that's a negative from an electric truck. It's quiet. We've probably got to think about garbage pickup and the sound that the bottles make after having a party if your garbage truck is so quiet. The trucks that we're building suit the application they're built for, and call it any two-axle truck in a capital city is pretty much able to be an electric vehicle today, right now.
Now, you speak about, garbage, trucks. That's where you guys are sort of cutting a bit of your cloth at the moment. Could we see a bit of a road warrior electric truck? Can I see a highway dominating 500, 600 horsepower rig in the foreseeable future? I'd like to see it.
Yeah, look, it's the technology as it stands today is very suited to battery electric urban type vehicles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trucks doing a lot of work in the heavy end as well. And there's a lot of technology that is still being developed in that space. C Electric may or may not be also playing in that space.
Do we get that? May or may not be. We'll use that in the social media channels.
It's up to us to be across all the different forms of technology.
Now, we've spoken too much, proper stuff. Let's get a bit more enjoyable here. Now, I've done my homework on you, Glenn.
Okay.
You're a Bomber supporter. You're an Essendon Bomber supporter.
I am.
It's a rough old trip for the Bombers at the moment. What's worse, being a Bomber supporter or an executive of a truck company?
You have more wins as an executive of a truck company at the moment. Hey, they'll be back.
Yeah,
they'll be back.
Oh, yeah,
they'll be back.
Brisbane Truck Show's coming around very shortly.
It is.
You guys are a part of our very first return post-COVID.
Yep.
What's the Brisbane Truck Show mean to the industry?
Whether I'm expressing the views of the industry or not, I'm certainly expressing mine. The Brisbane Truck Show is the preeminent national truck show in Australia. The public, whether they're in transport or not, they just get around the show. And it's fantastic seeing parents with children, especially to say to your son or your daughter, mum or dad is driving one of those things. Or I would be surprised if most, if not all, of the major OEMs don't have some sort of zero emission vehicle on their stand.
Yeah, it's a changing field, and that's where you got to sell it to the public, don't you? Talking of some of your competitors, if you could pinch a truck from a competitor's lineup, what would you chuck into the C Electric lineup?
Sentimentally, I would go with an 80s SAR.
Okay.
With an electric power system.
Okay, so bring a bit of old with the new.
One of the first Australian, if not the first Australian designed truck with the first Australian designed electric power system. And those SARs, they are achingly beautiful pieces of kit.
They are.
They really are. I just love them to death.
Now, I know you're short on time. You've got to catch a plane up to the HVIA's annual gala.
There you go.
We're going to play a quick game, though, of word association. I'm going to say a few words.
Yep.
Start with an easy one, or potentially a hard one, depending on where your heart lies. Essendon.
Oh, that's an easy one. Premiers 2023.
Audacious 2023. What are your thoughts when I say, a Roadhouse hot box?
Oh, yum.
Yeah, heartburn's mine.
Oh, yum. comfort food.
Hino.
A valued partner who took a punt, and I think it's paying off.
Freightliner.
I remember them from my days in the US. Freightliner and Kenworth and Peterbilt were strong competitors back then.
Melbourne weather. It's changed about 5 times since I've been in this.
Get
this
around it. It's
warehouse.
beautiful. It's beautiful. You wear layers.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it works out just fine. No, I love Melbourne weather.
Final one, Brisbane Truck Show.
Oh, see you there in 2023 as well.
Oh, we're going to finish it there. Glenn, thank you very much for your time. And I know you've got to do some
pleasure.
stuff.
I do.
And thank you very much for being a part of the very first episode of Between Two Trucks, which is also about episode 3 of Truck Chat. We'll work on the name, but thank you very much for having a chat with us today and talking trucks.
And thanks, thanks for coming down here for visiting one of the remaining manufacturing facilities for automotive here in Australia.
Oh, damn straight. Well
awesome.
said. Thank you very much, Glenn.
Right on,
and
mate.
we'll see you at the Truck Show.